Hey there, Simone here. Good to see you guys. I just wanted to share a story with you that I thought might be useful so that you can think about your business, your company in a way where it will serve you and your clients for many years to come, and of course your team and your family too. So the story I want to tell you about was a startup, or is a startup that I've been working with. And when I first started talking to the CEO, hey Stacy, good to see you. He was really frustrated because he'd been working on this product that was going really well in his perspective, but he was really frustrated because it seemed like unless he was pushing everything and working really hard himself on every single thing, nothing got done. So nobody was really focused on getting things done except for the CEO, and that's a serious problem. So he was kind of in this place where, because he felt so much pressure and because he felt like he had to control everything, his focus was constantly split. His priorities were all over the place. So he made a lot of rash decisions. Hey Lisa, good to see you. And a lot of times his team felt like, one day we're working on one thing, the next day we're working on another thing, and there is no consensus. We don't know what one person is doing or what the other person is doing in the company. So it was just all over the place. So what happened with that is the team felt like they were really frustrated because they never knew what to expect, and they also didn't know how they could contribute the best way possible. So you all probably know one of our biggest human needs is contribution. So when you, as a person working with a company, you don't know how to contribute and what your highest value is, you feel like you're tapping in the dark all the time. So you can't really contribute in the biggest way possible. So that's kind of what was happening in that company. So people were frustrated, and so nobody really had ownership over what they were doing. They thought they were doing the right things. They thought they were executing in the right order, but what they were thinking was not the same way that the CEO was seeing it. So everybody was frustrated and nobody felt like they were getting what they needed. It's kind of like, in your marriage, when you think you know what your partner needs, but actually what your partner needs is really different from what they actually need. So we didn't have a place of a common language. There was no trust in the relationship. People were executing on the wrong priorities all the time. And what, of course, that created was this cycle, right? So people are not executing right. The CEO is seeing that. He's getting his sticky little fingers on everything. So there's no trust anywhere, no common language. Feels like everybody feels like they're being micromanaged. And, micromanaging people, if you need a really good way to disempower people and keep them stuck in the place they are, that's a really good way. And that's what was happening in this company. So very slow momentum, lots of waste of time and energy and resources, dissatisfied CEO, really unhappy team, despite the fact that they had a great idea and a pretty good product. So you might ask, how did this all happen? Why did it go that far? And it came from the place of the CEO was really never quite clear on why was he building this company. Was it to sell? Or why was it to keep this company and make it amazing, make it profitable, make it life-changing? So that was his first mistake. He didn't make that decision. And actually, when he and I started talking, he was just in this place where he was thinking there was a company that was interested in buying them. So he was all excited because that was his way out. And he was frustrated and tired. So he just kind of kept envisioning himself, on a beach in Mexico, pretty much. And that was not exactly going well for him. And of course, when everybody in your company kind of knows that this is where you're going, they're also wondering, am I going to be here in another year or 2 or 3? Or how's this going to go? So when you're looking at how you're building your company, you have to know why. You have to know why. Are you just going to build something that's a cool concept and a cool idea, but it's held together by spit and bubble gum? Or are you building a real company with a solid core and a soul that you can actually keep perpetuating and keep growing, so you get to that place of break even and then profitability, and you can keep growing it, right? That's the most important thing you can really do. So you have to think about, it's like, how's your tech stack built? Is it actually built to last? Is it built to last in a way where you can keep stacking on it? When you need to build different solutions, are they going to be in sync, or is it going to be like, oh my God, I have to start all over because this is not working? So when you really look at how do you build a company that's built to last, first, of course, you have to have a good product that's built so you can scale it. But then the other thing is, if you don't have that team behind you that can actually help you scale it, you're going to go crazy at some point, because it's always going to be all up to you. So you might wonder, what do I do about that? You have to really think about your mission, and you have to make that the absolute focus on every single thing you're doing. And that's what people are going to see, because your mission is what you're doing here and now. But then to keep people engaged with what you're doing, you have to have that great, amazing, magnetizing vision that people really understand. And a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, they start working with me thinking that they know what their vision is and how they're communicated. And it's most of the time not true. Clarity is one of those things that seems like it's there, but it's super appreciated and not emphasized enough. So if you're not clear on how you can really communicate your vision so that it inspires people and that it gets people really engaged, you're already lost. So the real thing when you're looking at building this company to last, you have to cover all your bases. So you start out with who, that's your people. And then of course, why you're doing what you're doing. And then what is it that you're doing and how are you doing it? And all those questions have to be asked, not just once, they have to be asked on a consistent basis. Because if you don't ask them every week, every month, every quarter, every year, and everybody understands how all those pieces fit together on a consistent basis, even when things change, and they will change a lot, and they will change often. But that's really the place where you cannot cut corners. I know that it always seems like you have to work more on the product than anything else, and there's fires burning all over the place. But if you stick to a process that actually helps you not to have those fires, you're in a much, much better place. So when you think about when you cover your bases all the times and you pay attention to those pieces I just talked about, that's when you build a company that has a strong core. And I call that the soul, right? The soul of your company. And you have to become the guardian of the soul of the company. And if you don't do that, you might think you're going to build your company faster, and sometimes it will be faster if you ignore all that stuff. But on the back end, you're going to be spending a lot more time fighting those fires, dealing with unhappy team members, dealing with people who want to step out instead of stepping in. And that does not build a company that you can sell for a higher valuation. So you cannot ignore building that soul of your company. So that being said, what is the soul of a company? You have to think about it as, first of all, you need all those A players, not B players, not C players. If you already have a team, you really got to look at who do you have already. If they're not A players right now, can you spend a little bit of energy to bring them up? If you can't, it might not be the best fit for you and for them. So you have to have those A players to build that A team. And that's amazing. And a lot of times, even not that great leaders manage to get the right people on the bus just because they have a great mission. But if you are not an A leader, it doesn't matter how amazing the people are that you hire, they're not going to come up to their true potential, and they're not going to give your company the value that they can really give you. So that's the big question, right? How are you going to be that A leader who can really support their people to be at their optimum potential, right? This is really, really important. So we think about, what makes an A leader? And that's the homework I want to give you guys for this week. Really think about when you are in your power, when you are amazing, when you know you're doing a good job leading your people. Who are you being? It's not so much what you're doing. I mean, that's important too, right? We need the good people and the good processes. But then who are you being when you're leading these people to win? So I'd like you to pay attention this week. Just notice, when you're being crappy and when you're being that A leader. So like, what does that look like? Really define for yourself. Observe the impact you're having. When you're losing it and you're screaming at your people because they've not done the right thing in your eyes for their 25th time and you're just completely losing it and blowing a fuse, how's that going to impact the team? So I ask you to pay attention to how you're being with them and then identify the times when you're being powerful and being that A leader and how that impacts what happens in your company. So that's it for this week. Let me know how it goes. I always love your input. And just remember, what got you to this point is not going to be that thing that gets you to that next level of business. What got you here is not the thing that gets you to the next level. So keep thinking differently. And if you want to find out more, go to bulletproofstartups.com. And there's an amazing new training that we put up there for you that you can check out. And let's have a conversation. Talk to you soon.